It's easy to get stuck reaching for the same familiar fruits and vegetables, even when you know a colorful variety is key. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggie supplements don't replace fruits and vegetables, but it makes it easy to add more variety to what you already eat. With 31 ingredients that are whole fruits and vegetables, switching it up is easy because we've already taken care of the hard part. Go to balanceofnature.com and get a free fiber and spice supplement, plus 35% off your first set as a new preferred customer by using discount code POD.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Veterans Day 2025. Dominic Carter here with you. We see your calls coming in as we speak. The number to reach us live this hour, 800-848-9222. We have a lot to get to. A great hour coming your way. Standing by to join me live, former Congressman Peter King. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, a man that has done an awful lot for veterans. Legendary Cousin Brucey will be joining me live. Here's what I want to start with before I get to Congressman King. So, the Veterans Day Parade, New York City. Mom Donnie. He was in the Bronx, the Parkchester area, feeding veterans, giving out food to veterans in the Bronx. Perhaps, Mom Donnie, you should have been at the parade, but I get it with your socialist agenda. It doesn't exactly fit. It's disgusting. But we have a lot of young people in our military. And I want someone to explain this to me. Body cam footage. Port St. Lucie, Florida. Cannot make this up. Body cam footage. Somebody explain this to me. A 15-year-old girl starts beating a patrol car, a cop car, with a shovel, which is a deadly weapon. Recently, a police officer in another jurisdiction shot someone because they charged the officer with the shovel. So we have a lot of young people in our military. And this 15-year-old girl, the police respond. I want you to listen to what the secondary officer says as he responds. 15-year-old girl, bold enough to slam on a police patrol car with a shovel.
Are you kidding me?
Put the shovel down. Put the shovel down.
Put it down. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. You heard me.
15-year-old African-American girl slamming a patrol car with a shovel. 15 years old. How does one get to that point at age 15? You know how? Because many kids are taught from birth in communities of color to hate the police. Absolutely disgusting. Let's go to someone who I greatly enjoy chatting with, and that is former Congressman Peter King. Congressman, there's so much to talk about. First of all, how should this Veterans Day be honored?
By respecting and honoring and giving full credit and thanks to all the men and women in our armed forces, those who served in the past, those who are serving now. And, you know, it can look very exotic and very exciting when you see them marching in their uniforms and parades and all that. So much of their life is spent in the trenches, in cold weather, in very warm weather, training in the desert, training in the freezing cold weather, fighting actually in combat in the mountains, in the jungles. So it's a very, very tough life, and it's we only see it when it's at its glorious best, when we're honoring them and celebrating them. The fact is we should be celebrating them every day of the week, because what they are doing right now is you and I are talking here on the phone, enjoying the comforts of being in heated surroundings while the cold weather is outside. Those guys and those women are outside. They can be freezing somewhere. They could be dying of heat and exhaustion somewhere else. And all at the same time have to worry about bombs going off, rockets coming at them. It's because of them that we can be safe and we can have this type of conversations. So to thank them all from the bottom of our hearts. Let me just say myself, though, from a selfish point, I'm looking forward to me being off the show and being able to listen to Cousin Brucey later in the show.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Congressman, there's so much to talk to you about, so much. First of all, let's start with the news of the day. The Senate has voted to end the shutdown. It kicks back to the House. They are expected to vote tomorrow. President Trump may end this officially by end of the week. But it seems to me, and explain this to me, the Democrat Party has become the party of no. And break this down, this debate issue, because the debate issue as far as the shutdown, I am proud of the Republican Party for not budging on health care to the demand that Democrats made. Put this in language that everyone can understand, Congressman King, please.
Well, obviously, we do have health care issues. We're always going to have them. That's just the reality of life as longevity increases, as medical advances continue. There's always going to be adjustments have to be made, and that will be done. And the Republicans want to do that. But the fact is the Democrats, rather than go into meaningful negotiations, say, we're going to shut the government unless you give us full subsidies now for everything involving health care, even if there's no real limitations on them. So we don't know, for instance, how much of that money is legitimate, how much is going to people who are not entitled to it. And when Republicans, all they wanted was time to have meaningful, real negotiations. The Democrats who just want to fight with Donald Trump no matter what. That's the base of their party. And the people who want to stay in leadership, they have to carry this fight forward. So they picked an issue which they thought would be emotional, talk about health care, that if you didn't shut the government down, if you didn't give in to them, that meant that you wanted people to die in the streets, you wanted young people to starve, all of this nonsense. And I give the Republicans credit for not backing down on that. They're saying we are more than willing. We want to. We want to be in the leadership of advancing health care reforms and promises, but we want to do it without a gun to our head, without having to give in to every one of your basically hostage-type demands. And, for instance, the issue of illegal immigrants getting health care, getting these subsidies, the fact that people who may be totally fraudulent getting it. And so to see what the right way to do it is also to make sure that more money goes actually into healthcare, actually goes to individuals rather than just to insurance companies. That also all has to be worked out. But the Democrats, they didn't want to do that. They just want to make a demagogic issue. It's the Trump derangement syndrome. So people like Senator Schumer, who was boxed in here in the state by AOC, and others around the country, they wanted to show that they were tougher than tough, that they would bring the whole government down rather than let Donald Trump operate this government. And they stood firm. And I don't know where they thought this was going. There really was no way out. They had very effectively, very brilliantly, very cleverly set up a system where they boxed themselves into a corner. And the only way they could get out was to somehow say, well, now we're out. We're not going to be hurt as much as we could be after all the damage we've caused. So, no, this is a loss for the Democrats. But it's really a loss for the whole system because it makes everybody look bad. And so I just hope now the government reopens, and what's going to happen, that the cleavage with the Democratic Party is greater now or worse now, how you want to look at it, than it's been before. You have the progressive left and the left. There's a split between the two of them, and they are killing each other. So people like Chuck Schumer right now are on the ropes. They're coming at him. And it seems, he's now become the target of late-night comics, of the left wing of the Democratic Party, of many in the left-wing media. So they are absolutely in a far worse position than they were 41 days ago.
Does Schumer survive all of this?
It's going to be tough. There's two things he has to survive. One, is he going to stay on as the Democratic leader in the Senate? The problem is the more moderate Democratic senators don't like the fact that he appears to be giving in to the progressive wing of the party because of AOC and Mandami and the issues back here in New York. On the other hand, the progressives feel that he's not aggressive enough at all as far as protecting their interests. So he's really losing support from both wings of his party. Listen, Chuck is a very able guy, very smart guy. If anyone on their side can survive this, it's him. But his condition is definitely changed and deteriorated from just a few months ago. So it's going to be very, very tough. And if he does survive, the party has to be weaker because they've got this internal fight going on. Listen, Chuck Schumer is a very tough opponent to have. But if he spends most of his time fighting off the left wing of his party, he can't be effectively fighting the Republicans.
Absolutely, Congressman King. I got about 2 minutes left here. Mom Donnie. The guy is so bad, I say his name twice. Already, Governor Hochul says no, he wants the free bus service, as you know. She says no, it's not going to happen. So how did we end up in this position with Mom Donnie as the mayor-elect, and how do you assess the election?
Well, listen, he won, but again, he barely got 50% of the vote. I don't think he would have gotten the 50%, even with the fact that Curtis and Andrew Cuomo were going at each other. That detracted votes overall. If it could have been just one, if it had just been Cuomo against him, and now I think Cuomo could have won, but he certainly would have gotten much closer to 50%. But he did win, and that's the reality. But I think right now what we're seeing between Mamdani and Hochul is sort of what Chuck Schumer is facing in the Senate. Kathy Hochul realizes that to get elected statewide, she can't be supporting these crazy schemes of Mamdani, for instance, to have free bus rides. But on the other hand, if she's challenged in a primary, if she will be by her attorney, at least a lieutenant governor from the left, if not others, if she's challenged from the left by the progressives, as she will be, then she has to be much closer to Mamdani. So she's going to be torn between trying to show some separation from him, but on the other hand, giving him what as much as he wants, if she can give him. So I see a real fight developing between the governor and the mayor, and then if she gives in to the mayor, then between Governor Hochul and the electorate in November, when you have either Bruce Blakeman or Elise Stefanik really chasing her around.
And it's going to be interesting, Stefanik and Bruce Blakeman. She's a rock star. So is he, the Nassau County executive. I don't know how that plays out. But, I want to ask you this, Congressman King. And folks, we are about to go to your telephone calls. We're going to take a short break. Then we're going to go right to your calls. And at the bottom of the hour, Cousin Brucey, who has done a lot to help veterans going back to the 60s. It's going to be very interesting to hear what he has to say. Congressman King, one of the greatest responses I look forward to from you is that when I ask you what story are you looking for in the days ahead, it tips me off as a journalist for what I should be looking at, what the public should be looking at. So how do you answer the question right now? What are you looking at, Congressman Peter King, as far as the future?
Sort of what we were just talking about, the friction within the Democratic Party between Hochul and Mamdani and between Chuck Schumer and the progressive left, because this is more than just an internal fight. This is a fight for the soul of their parties and, in many ways, ultimately the soul of the nation. So that is what I'm going to be watching, how brutal and how bitter that divide is going to be and what impact it's going to have on the overall electorate.
Congressman Peter King, it's always an absolute pleasure to chat with you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dominic.
And on that note, we see your telephone calls, folks. All the lines are lit up. We're going to get to your calls in just a moment when I come back. And at the bottom of the hour, about 35 minutes past the hour, the one, the only Cousin Brucey. We are coming right back.
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com. The Dominic Carter Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll talk with the legendary Cousin Brucey. Many soldiers on this Veterans Day, but many soldiers going back to the Vietnam War were inspired listening to his show in the 60s, to Cousin Brucey's show. Cousin Brucey will join me on this Veterans Day in about 10 minutes. Until then, it's you and I together. Michelle, line 1, Connecticut. What's on your mind, Michelle?
Hi, how are you? I know I'm late to talking about the election in New York, but if I'm not correct, there's 8 million people in New York, and say 6 of them are adults that can vote.
You said 6?
I'm just saying, is there about 8 million?
8 million.
Okay, and how many of those are able to vote?
I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it was a high turnout this election. 2 million people voted, but still, that's not a great number.
Right. And so what do we, I'm an independent, but I have conservative values. I wonder what we're doing as Republicans or independents to get more voters out, make them more aware of things.
The Republican Party has to do a much better job of getting candidates, of funding candidates, of promoting candidates. The problem, Michelle, is that New York City is 70% Democrat. So that means it's almost impossible to get elected unless you have a rock star like Rudy Giuliani. And even the great Giuliani, it took him 2 tries. Or unless you have Bloomberg, and for all of Bloomberg's money, and thank you for the call, Michelle, and for all of Bloomberg's money, he almost didn't get elected. Let's go to Bill, line 2 in Georgia. Bill, what's on your mind on this Veterans Day?
Hi, Dominic. Thank you for taking my call. I call you at the end of Greg's show. I didn't know you were filling in for him. And that caller pointed out that Mandami didn't show up for the Veterans Day parade. But you mentioned it that he didn't show up for a photo op in the Bronx. That's a disgrace. He should have been at.
Well, I didn't call it a photo op. I said he fed homeless people. He fed veterans in the Bronx. Gave out food supply. I didn't call. That was your term. I didn't say photo op. But go ahead, Bill.
I'm calling it a photo op.
Okay.
Not you.
Okay.
I am. He should have been at the parade because that would have been the first big thing for him to show up in the city.
But why should he do that when he wants to show all of us that he doesn't give a darn about us?
Okay, I hear you. I agree with you.
I mean,
brother.
it's Mom Donnie. It's his world now. We're just living in it. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Judith, line 3 in Brooklyn. Judith, on this Veterans Day, what's on your mind?
Hi, thank you. First of all, I want to thank our veterans. They all are our heroes and should be given the highest honor all the time and taken care of with respect and appreciation, okay? Not just this one day, and I want to thank them so much, okay? Also, you had a caller really I didn't know you were filling in for Greg. I listened to the last 10 minutes as well. So I heard Harold, and he said they don't teach history, and I thought to myself, he's right. They teach twistery. They twist everything. It's not history. And you know what? Like Mandami's activist father, the Columbia professor, he loves suicide bombers. You listen to stuff he says, he's ridiculous. And you know what? I bet you he cheered wildly on 9/11 when 19 suicide jihadis murdered innocent people, 3,000 over here. And he should be fired at Columbia University along with, he's the one that fills up his son, Mandami, with full of lies, historical lies.
Don't leave Mommy out. You got Judith. I got to take a break. You got to include Mommy, the Hollywood director. They have made the perfect product for hate against America. The women say, "Oh, he's so cute, Mom Donnie." We're coming right back live with Cousin Brucey.
The Dominic Carter Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And folks, you follow my career. You know I've done a lot of great things, but this one really goes down for me as one of the top ones. And that is joining us live right now, living legend, Cousin Brucey. You hear him on the weekends, but he is the man. And Cousin Brucey, on this Veterans Day 2025, thank you so much for joining us live.
Thank you very much, Cousin Dominic. You know, when I hear you say living legend, that scares me a little bit.
Okay, but it's true. But it's true. But it's frightening. But it's no. There are so many things I want to ask you. And so let's start with Veterans Day, right? So what we know, going back to the 60s, that your radio shows, Cousin Brucey, were popular among service members, including Vietnam veterans that were scared for their lives, and you gave them a moment of solace. How does that make you feel?
That's probably my proudest moments of service. You know, I was in the infantry and the Air Force, by the way, and very happily served this nation that I love. But I think my most proud moments are what you just talked about. But it all started really. I met a serviceman. He was a sergeant, I believe, in New York City. I was walking around, and he came up to me and thanked me for the music. And he said, "Gee, the things we miss overseas when we're over there in foreign countries serving, the music. That's so much like home." Well, right away the lights went on, and I realized, yeah, that is probably the best thing I could do. So I started recording my shows. I made a deal, I believe, with the USO and the government, and they sent over my tapes. And to this day, Dominic, cousin Dominic, I meet people in all walks of life who served, say, in Vietnam, God bless them, and they say to me, "You have no idea when we were in the foxholes or we were in mud deep to our knees, and we heard your voice and we heard the music that we grew up with. It was like being home." So you hit it on the nail. I think that's my happiest moment and my honor to have served like that.
It's remarkable. I mean, men that were dodging bullets, men that did not know if they were going to live another 5 minutes listening to your music. So you knew what you were doing at that time, correct?
Yes, I did. I knew that this was an integral part of bringing people home or making them feel more relaxed. Because, what I don't know if have you served, Dominic? Have you been in the service?
No, and it's one of the regrets of my life. I thought about it, and I wish, Cousin Brucey, that I had.
Well, listen, if the time was right, don't be regretful, because, look, but the time was right, and you were right, and the service was right, you would have served. I really go back to being a young man, and I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to do this. I did not see action. I'm not going to tell you that. But I went through all the training, and I went through the mud with the bullets whizzing over me. And,
wow.
Wow. And it's something to this day, and I'm a happy-go-lucky guy. I'm very happy what I do. I love what I do. But I'm very grateful that I went through that. And I'm going to say something that I hope is not going to offend anybody, but I wish my kids could have had some of that experience too. It meant a lot to me growing up and my maturity. It changed my outlook on life, and realized that, hey, it wasn't all with mom and dad going to the supermarket and having a burger. We had some serious things to do and learn. And it was I'm not going to kid you, it was kind of scary, especially the nighttime stuff. But then I found my true road, sending those tapes to our men and our women who were serving overseas. That made me feel so good, and I realized that this was a most important part of my life.
And so you knew, Cousin Brucey, and sending those tapes, like we're hearing the stories, and again, this is going back to the 60s from veterans, that you were there with them in foxholes. And we know the stories of the ones that lived because they've told us about it now. But you may have very well been the last voice that some of our soldiers that did not make it, that they heard. Have you thought about that?
Yes. Yeah, we're talking very serious things here. And what I try to do, obviously, is bring happiness and bring warmth and familiarity to all our listeners like you do, Dominic. And so you try to sort of get rid of the negativism, and I try to turn that into something positive. So during my service and my service with my broadcast, this is what I do. This is the positive part, to make people feel at home, and that's so important. They give them I guess it's a security. When I meet these people on the street, I'll never forget. I was on Broadway now. I'll tell you a quick story. I was on Broadway doing Grease, and during the intermission, they brought up some people to say hello. They were doing dances on the stage. I was giving them prizes, and one of the men came up to me out of nowhere. He put his arms around me and hugged me so tight that I lost my breath. And he whispered in my ear, "Thank you, you saved our lives." And I tell you, then he explained what he meant, and it was those tapes that, well, that were just such a simple thing and safe thing for me to do. But wow, what an opportunity, right, to take care of people and to help bring them home and feel at home. That's so important, Dominic. Feeling at home when you're overseas. Wow.
It is remarkable. Do you ever stop, Cousin Brucey, and think about your role in history, the many things that you've done, the impact you've had on America, the impact you've had on the world? Do you ever seriously stop and pinch yourself and think about it?
Once in a while. And you know what happens when somebody comes up in the street, like I said, I was a boy. I was 10 years old, Cousin Brucey, and you found me. He was a Boy Scout, and he was lost somewhere up in the Bear Mountain. And I started broadcasting to, help find them and to tell them to stay where they are. So that's when I really start Dominic, that's when I really start thinking about an impact. Because honestly, it's something that you and I do every day. We love our business. We love what we do.
Indeed.
Right? And we don't realize how important it is to our listeners until one of the listeners comes up and gives you a big bear hug. And then you realize, wow, this has been a good life. I've accomplished something. I love it. I love what I do, Dominic.
And I don't ever see you slowing down. Just like the legendary Gabe Pressman. And Gabe told me he was never going to slow down, and he didn't, even until the end. So,
right.
So, Cousin Brucey, I don't even want to ask you what's next for you because you're going to keep entertaining the world. I know you are. But do you ever stop and think about how many major careers you started yourself for other people?
Well, that I get once in a while. It's really nice. Fortunately, we have a thing called the Internet, so at least once a week, I get a thank you note from somebody who's now a broadcaster like you and I, and they thank me for stimulating what they wanted to do. So, once again, I bring back to the same thing. It's always, Dominic, the listeners who remind us, about our important work. It's the listeners. And that's how I built my career, Cousin Dominic, right? I realized, we have technical great things. We reach all over the world. I'm reaching Tokyo. I'm a morning show in Tokyo, all over Europe today. But, that's really nice, the technical part. But the most important part, when somebody comes up to you and says thank you, and then you realize what you've done. But otherwise, it just goes on. We just love what we do. But it's so nice when we meet somebody on the street that we've helped.
Cousin Brucey, I could go on forever with you, and I can't keep you on the air too much longer. But I'm just curious, when do you get an opportunity to rest your voice?
I don't remember the last time. Cousin John and Margot have decided that they're going to give me a 40-year contract. And I explained to them, 40 years, I don't think so.
Man,
there's no time to rest. We love what we do. So it's not a matter of rest. It's a matter of keep on going and bringing people joy. That's what I like to do.
And so every weekend when you do your show, how do you feel going in? I'm going to come back to Veterans Day. How does Cousin Brucey prep? You have all these DJs that have come after you. None of them are Cousin Brucey. All right. Number one. Number two, how do you even prep? Considering that you're a living legend, and every time you hit the microphone, it's history.
Well, I don't prep.
No.
I just pop.
Wait, Cousin
No
Brucey, I guess
popping.
how many years you've been doing this, Cousin Brucey?
Oh, Dominic, you're asking me a very tough question. A long time. Matter of fact, you're a very smart man. You can tell people how long it's been. I don't remember, and you know something? I don't care. I just love what I'm doing, and I want to continue as long as people want to listen, as long as I have breath and I can make it to a microphone, I'm not going to stop.
And do you realize how many generations of family members have listened to you, one generation to the next?
Yep. I'm a very lucky man. a very lucky guy that I was going to study medicine, and I still maybe if there's another life, I will. But you know, I am medicinal. I know that because music is such a great medicine.
Oh, you definitely
are. Music is love, and
are.
love is medicine. Yep.
You know, I got a question on a personal level. So you have helped so many careers of major stars, and many of them happen to be of color. Why have you helped so many black entertainers get their careers going?
Well, because it's part of my love and part of my life. You know, when I play a record, I don't look at racial things, at religious things. I listen to the poetry, and I don't care where a person comes from, what's the origination. The most important thing, Dominic, is what is that music saying? What is it giving to my heart and my soul? And then I want to return it to the audience. That's all that counts. You don't look at pictures. You know, I like to look at beautiful women. But when it comes to if somebody's black or white or red or yellow, doesn't matter. What are they saying? What are they singing? What is the soul in this delivery? And that's all I care about. And that's what I try to do. And I'm very careful, Dominic, what I play on the air. I'm very careful what I say on the air. But everything I say comes from my heart. And I hope that the music matches it.
I have 2 minutes left here, and I could go on forever with chatting live with Cousin Brucey on this Veterans Day 2025. So what should this day mean to you, Cousin Brucey? And again, to people that may be just joining us, people in the Vietnam War, right? It's documented many cases in the foxholes would listen to Cousin Brucey's music and him being a DJ, and it kept them going in a foxhole. So what does and you're a veteran yourself, what does Veterans Day, what should it mean as far as Cousin Brucey says?
Well, it should mean the following, that somebody is with them, that they know that the nation, that their parents, their loved ones, their religious leaders, their education leaders are with them. That's a very important part. And the poor guys and gals in Vietnam, they knew that a lot of people were not with them. And I just think the most important thing for our men and women in service today and yesterday is that they know that the nation is with them, and they're supporting everything they do, and they're saying, guys and gals, come home. Stay safe. Come home. We're with you 100%. That's what it means to me. We're with you. Come home.
Wow. Cousin Brucey, on behalf of a grateful nation, I want to say thank you. Man, you are the real deal. And I don't say that lightly. I have such admiration for you and what you've done for our country. Thank you so much, Cousin Brucey.
Thank you. And I am very honored to have served, and I know that it was a responsibility, but I love that I had the opportunity. I'm greatly honored.
The one, the only Cousin Brucey joining us live, a veteran who entertained thousands of soldiers in foxholes, and Cousin Brucey is a living legend. He is the man, period, hands down. Time for a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, final thoughts of the day on this Veterans Day. Honor the men and women that have served our country. We're going back to your telephone calls right now, 800-848-9222. The government shutdown appears to be over. It goes to the House tomorrow. Should be done by the end of the week. It won't help me. I was set to fly down to Tampa, Florida. Not going to happen because I can't get stuck down there without the possibility of getting back. It is what it is, folks. Let's go to Peter, Long Island, line 5. Peter, what's on your mind?
Two quick things. First, I'd like to give a shout out to Cousin Brucey because of what he did. You have no idea. Wow. takes my breath away. I want to tell you about one other guy, and that's Adrian Cronauer. And if you don't remember Adrian Cronauer, it's Good Morning Vietnam.
Yes.
And he was exceptional with all of that. He used to be one of my clients. The other thing I want to talk about Curtis real quick. Curtis, his ego got too far in the way, and his dislike of Cuomo is so great, it goes way back before Curtis and Kuby. So that's why he didn't quit. And that's why he attacked Cuomo and not Mondami as much. And that is something that I don't know if I can ever get by.
Well, fair enough, Peter. I don't see the point of continuing to discuss this issue as it relates to Mr. Sliwa. It's time to move forward. We're stuck with the problem in terms of all of this. And, I can't get into Mr. Sliwa's head. I wish him well. Plus, I'm trying not to comment as much because one of his sons is a great kid, Anthony. And Anthony works here. And it's got to be tough for Anthony to hear these comments about his father. So I'm trying my best not to go there. Thank you for the call, Peter. I know I'm going to regret this. But let's go to line 4, Melvin in Bronx. Melvin, what's on your mind? Please, no history lessons.
No, it's about the upcoming inauguration for the incoming mayor. A whole lot of people seem to forget. He is that seat that he was sitting on out in Queens is going to be vacant. Now, who's going to take over that seat in Queens and do what he do? A whole lot of people don't want to talk about that.
Well, okay, who cares what he did in the assembly? He was a no-show assemblyman anyway. Who cares about an assembly seat? What are you talking about? The man has gone from the assembly to becoming the mayor. And you want to focus on the assembly? Melvin, I know you're a veteran, but what are you smoking?
No, that's how he got elected. He had a base to work from that put him over, that said to us, what y'all been doing before is not going to work. We come out here with something new. And they couldn't find nobody to go against him. Well, that same mess is going to happen again in next year's gubernatorial race and the midterm election. Unless these people wake up and find somebody qualified enough to get out there and run and got some fire in their belly and a heart to put forth what they going to do and stand up for the truth, we're going to go through this.
So wait. It's not on the party. It's the people, Melvin, it's people like me and you that I would never vote for him, but people that look like me and you that walked in there and voted for this clown. What are you talking about?
I'm going back to what Frederick Douglass
Oh, here we go. Frederick Douglass, the history lesson. Melvin, I love you, but how many times do I have to tell you no history lessons? I mean, I tell you all the time. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Mike, line 1, New Jersey. Mike, what's on your mind?
Yeah, so I want to tell you, this Curtis didn't cause this election to go to Mondani.
Here we go. Didn't I just say I don't want to talk about this, Mike? Why,
I know,
Mike, you're not going to change my mind, nor anybody else that knows anything about politics. So what's the point of wasting my time on this?
Because I want to defend Curtis. I want to talk about...
Okay, well, you know what? Okay, you got 10 seconds to make a delusional argument. Go ahead.
People of New York City, and the majority of them, elected this moron. This had nothing to do with Curtis.
It had everything to do with Curtis. I said I don't want to talk about him anymore. Mr. Sliwa is yesterday's story. What part are we not understanding? Folks, all it takes is $11 a month. Donate $11 a month to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation at T2T.org. I'm back at midnight.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
If If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.